Alright, so here's the deal. Crack a beer if you got them. We got a lot to cover today. I'm just going to jump right into it. It's going to be a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the M42 Duster. Now, the M42 Duster is a self-propelled 40 mic anti-aircraft gun on tracks. This is literally what happens when you take an M41 light tank and just slap a couple Bofors guns on it. Now, it was nicknamed the Duster because anything that it hit just turned into dust. Absolutely morbid, and I love it. It is incredible what people can come up with. It is the dark humor for me, truly. So this thing was produced from 1952 to 1960, and it was in service until 1988. It also saw a ton of combat in Vietnam, and we're going to get into that right now. Now, the M42 was armed with twin 40mm cannons and had a 308 M60 machine gun as a secondary, because just in case. Now, if we're going to talk about this thing's service in Vietnam specifically, it was originally used for anti-aircraft. However, that never was the case, really. So they built it for the Vietnamese army, which was a conventional force which had aircraft. The Viet Cong didn't. However, the Viet Cong proved to be the bigger threat. So, what happens when you have a bunch of anti-aircraft weapons and no aircraft to shoot? You get a little war crimey. So this thing proved absolutely devastating against unarmored ground forces, according to them, particularly infantry. However, you're not supposed to be shooting 40 mics at infantry. You're supposed to be shooting it as anti-material. Although I guess if you're aiming for their helmet, that is anti-material. So when they're facing the Viet Cong, every single one of these M42 Dusters are just lobbing 40 mics down range like SpongeBob in a snowball fight. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it was also built and manufactured by General Motors. You know, the same people that make the Chevy, make the GMC, and they make Cadillac. And I'm pretty sure they made Pontiac back in the day. This thing basically has a sunroof. This thing is basically the original Pontiac Sunfire. This thing had a 6-member crew with an open top, and as you can imagine, having an open top on any sort of armored vehicle or light armored vehicle wasn't exactly helpful when you came up against opposing armored vehicles. However, when you're throwing 40 mic down range at a rate of, I don't know, as much as you want, it doesn't really matter what you come up against because they're not going to want that fight. In conclusion, if you're an enemy fighting force and you take away our main target, we're going to go find another target and we're going to take out that. And that is your brief history for today.